Sure, we all love getting these craft supply boxes, bead boxes in the mail every month, but then what do you do with them? In today's video, I'm going to give you all sorts of ideas for things that you can make using supplies from the January 2020 Potomac Bead Box. Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another Friday Findings video at KeepSakeCrafts.net. So this is my second Potomac bead box that I've gotten, and so far I am absolutely loving this subscription. One thing, I always get all excited about the boxes, but this is a really great box. It's got little magnets in it, and I have a year's subscription, so I think a dozen of these will stack up beautifully to hold supplies. It's just a nice shape and size. It's not too big, it's not too small. So enough about the box. Let's talk about what's on the inside. Every month it has a theme. This month is Arabian Nights. Hot, dusty deserts with endless star-filled skies. The Arabian Nights subscription box brings to you the purples, golds, and coppers of the setting sun. Explore the mysteries of pyramids and admire the heavenly bodies while creating wonderment with the January box. I just love that. It's just poetry. Now this is not everything that came in the box because I've already made several projects. So these are just the things I haven't used. I love the assortment of beads you get in these boxes. There's always something very interesting and unique. Here's some super duos, which I adore. I just love the way they snap together, and what a pretty color. Crystal Lila Vega something. Really beautiful. And then you get these. These are so cool. These are halo beads. And the idea is that they fit a super duo perfectly. But I was so glad I checked out their video spotlight on the halos, because they pointed out that you can put more than just super duos in here. So you can see the super duos are a 2-hole bead, and the halos also have 2 holes, and you can just pop those in there. Isn't that cool? And boy, I love that purple and the copper together. But these will fit other beads. They'll fit the SOs, which are very similar to the super duos. They're just a little bit wider this way. You could pop in 3mm rounds and so much more. I'll have a link to their product spotlight where they show a whole bunch of different options for using these, not just super duos, although the super duos fit perfectly. So you can use these in any design that uses super duos. It's just going to end up bigger. One thing I did notice was that all of their videos that used super duos, all the ones that I found that used the super duo halos, did require more than the 10 that come in the bead box. So you might want to, check them out first and then decide which ones you want to get. I love that we get findings like a pinch bail. That's really pretty. And even some necklace cord with a clasp and everything attached. That's always great to have. This month they sent out zodiac cabochons. I'm not a Pisces, and I'm not really interested even if it was my sign, which is Gemini. Not really my thing, but they're very nice, and I could see a lot of people doing beadwork around those. You get some 8mm rounds. What an interesting combination of colors with the purple and green. Look at these 2mm faceted gemstones. And Susan from Bronze Pony Beads reviewed this, and she said exactly what I was thinking. How do you facet a 2mm gemstone? Oh my goodness, those are so tiny, but these are great to have in your stash. With the theme, we've got a little sun that fits really nice in there, little sun charm, and some great freshwater pearls in this pretty gray. Now let me show you some of the things I made with some of the other products. First of all, with every box, and that's one thing I love about this box that I haven't seen in other boxes I got, it's kind of a cross between a kit and just a box of stuff. because there are boxes that are kits where everything in the box is for making a specific project. And then there are boxes where it's just a whole assortment of stuff. But what this one does that's different is they always include a pattern and supplies to make one project. And you could see I went ahead and did their graduated crystal pendant, although I did it a little bit differently. So what came in the box were these 3 Potomac crystal rivolees in 14, 12, and 10 millimeter. And let's see, the colors are light Colorado topaz, the 12 millimeter, crystal silver foil, the 10 millimeter, and black diamond, which has this kind of grayish. And then what's fascinating is you use these bar beads pretty much as the scaffolding on which you build the structure that holds all these together. I think it's, in some ways, I think it's kind of a shame that they're hidden on the back because they're really pretty cool looking. So you get these 2-hole bar beads, and then the only other thing you need to make this pendant are 15-Os. Now these 15-Os came in the box, the matte dark smoky amethyst, but I didn't think I really wanted that for mine, so I used some 15, I put them away. Oh, no, here they are. These ones, Opaque Metallic Bronze. I also flipped mine around. I think I like it better with the big one on top and graduating down to the smaller. I also had to adjust some of my numbers, so if you decide to make it, you might want to come back to this video and screenshot this section. Maybe my tension's a little loose, but I found that their numbers didn't quite work for me. And if you make it, you'll know what I mean. So they give you the directions to make a project, and you can opt to do it or not. I usually do, because I sort of love having everything assembled for me. So you got those 3 rivolees, the 15-Os, and the bar beads, and these are all the ones that are left over, so there are other projects that use these. You can check them out. The beads that intrigued me the most in this box were the pyramid beads. These are 6 millimeter square, 2-hole pyramid beads. Aren't they just so cool? One thing to keep in mind with these is they are 6 millimeters square, so any pattern that you have that calls for a 6 millimeter 2-hole square bead, like a tila or a tile, you could substitute these as long as the depth of the pyramid shape isn't going to get in the way. And this is a pattern that I found online. I will link to it. It's called the Dragonfly bracelet, and I just absolutely love it. It uses, in addition to the pyramids, the 15-Os, which I used the same color I used in that pendant, some SuperUnos, although I think you could probably substitute any kind of fringe bead here, mini daggers, riso beads, or even super duos that would just have the extra hole hanging out not being used, and some 8-O seed beads. I changed mine and used all of the pyramid beads and made these little herringbone ends smaller. Again, if you check out the video, you'll see what I mean. But what a great pattern. I just love this. And I love these pyramid beads. I think they're so cool. And I will also link to an entire playlist on YouTube showing ways of using pyramid beads. Finally, the other things that came in the box that I hadn't shown you yet are these semicircle beads. And aren't these just so cool? These are also 2-hole beads. And they did a product spotlight video on these as well. So you can see the 2 holes go from that round edge to the flat where it's cut in half edge. You can have just so much fun playing with these, you know, thinking about how could you arrange them. How about like that? Or yeah, just take a look at this photo and see different ways. There's the Catherine necklace over on the left that uses them. You can just start playing and find different ways of arranging them. You could just arrange them in circles or back to back. And then there are these pewter moon and star beads, which I think are just adorable. They would go really well with the sun charm, but I had thought they would make a cute pair of earrings. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot because I used it here. You also get 2 of these star head pins, which I used one to make my earring, and I thought I would just show you real quick how to make an earring using one of these. And what I did was I sat down and just started sketching. I am not a very good drawer, but you can certainly just sketch out ideas. Now, my original thought was to use one of these up here. Only I realized I think it might be a little big. I mean, in my drawing, I have this a lot smaller than this and in better proportions. I don't know. I think that might be a bit much. So I've got some of my 15-0s here. And a clamshell bead tip that opens at the bottom at the loop opposite the hinge opening. And I also happen to have a strand of 4mm check glass Drux in a metallic mix that matches the metallic mix of the semicircle. So I thought I would use those. You'll just need some sort of bead to be your little dangle down here. You'll need about 15 inches of beading thread. So the first thing you want to do is pick up one of your 15-0s and tie it on your thread, maybe 3 inches from the end. You don't need a long tail. You need enough just to tie a knot when we get done. But I'm just going to tie a knot right around that bead. Then I'm going to slide on my clamshell bead tip into the inside, coming out the bottom of the hinge, so that that bead sits right in there, in that cup. Just give it a tug and make sure that the hole in your hinge isn't too big for your bead. Otherwise, just use a larger bead. Then I'll put on five seed beads. These are 15-0s. 3, 4, 5. I am going to use, so they almost match. I mean, you could make them match, you could make them slightly different. I'm going to make mine just slightly different. So we'll go down through the semicircle bead, pick up 3 15-0s, whatever you want for your dangle bead. I'm using these 4mm Drux. You could maybe use these. They might be a little small, but they would work. You could use those little gemstones. Whoop, come back. And another seed bead. And then go back up through everything but that last seed bead. So up through the Druk, seed beads, the semicircle bead, and all of those seed beads up through your clamshell. This just gives a little strength. Go up through that seed bead with the knot in it as well. 5 again. I'm going to do this little other part of the triangle up here. So 5. Yep. Down through the other hole of your semicircle. And now it's 4 seed beads. Oh, I have to prepare my little star here to make it a dangle. I'm just going to use my one-step looper to do that. You could just use round nose pliers and wire cutters, but I do love my one-step looper. And make sure that loop is very securely closed, so that wire is touching the wire. Then we'll go through that loop, and once again back up through the seed beads, the semicircle bead, and the seed beads. And at this point you can go through that 15-0 inside, but you don't have to. To pull this snug so that your thread isn't loose, you just hold that last bead and pull, and it'll all just pull up through your clamshell. Many thanks to those of you who have decided to support me on Patreon. It makes a big difference and is a huge factor in whether or not this channel stays on YouTube. If you're a regular here and you watch my videos every week, you might consider supporting me. And if you like my videos, don't forget that patrons have the opportunity to get up to 2 bonus tutorials every month. You know, beading would be a lot simpler if somehow they made thread that didn't want to curl around everything in sight. Could somebody come up with that? That'd be good. I'd appreciate it. Sometimes it can be so aggravating. Okay, So then you just take these two ends of your thread and tie them in a knot. Add a dab of glue. Tie them in a knot, add a dab of glue. When it dries, close your bead tip and add an ear wire. And there's a really cute pair of earrings. If you have ideas for using these supplies, especially the interestingly shaped two-hole beads, please share them down below in the comments so we all can get new ideas and inspiration.